Ken Trahan along with Lenny Vangilder. It's our First NBC Bank Weekend Review, brought to you by First NBC Bank, with 35 locations throughout Southeast Louisiana and into the Florida Panhandle. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNOLA.com. The New Orleans Pelicans getting ready for the NBA draft. Dell Demps meeting with the media, not saying anything, to no surprise, head-scratching to a degree. But then again, the whole offseason's been kind of head-scratching for the Pelicans. And I don't think that's a critical statement. I think that's an accurate statement.
Yeah, look, this has been kind of, confusing at this point in terms of what we're going to see. Obviously, Thursday night's a key night. You can't swing and miss at 6. And, to the credit of the Pelicans, as I think we've mentioned before, when they've had these high picks, they've done well. See Chris Paul, see Anthony Davis, obviously. As you've gotten a little further down, that's where they've been inconsistent, the one notable exception being David West. But let's see what happens there. And I think, obviously, you can have your board set up however it is you want to set it up, but what happens at 1 through 5, you know what's going to happen at 1 and 2. It's a matter of what's going to happen at 3, 4, and 5. That's going to dictate the move you're going to make at 6. Is it going to be Dunn? Is it going to be Hield? Is it going to be Murray? Is it going to be someone else that is completely off our radar? Let's see. And then, of course, there's 39 and 40 out there, which, again, those can be key picks. Those are guys that, you look at a Draymond Green who went at 35. You can get good quality NBA talent at the start of the second round. It's just a matter of what they choose to do and how they choose to manage those picks.
Well, ideally, how do you define success? That you hit on the first pick and he becomes a starter, and that you get a roster player with one of the 2 second-round picks. If you can do that in the NBA, that's a terrific draft.
It is. And then, obviously, as soon as the draft is over, you're starting to segue into free agency. And, we will know a lot more about the makeup of this 2016-17 Pelicans team by this time next month. So, basically, you're going to see, the redefining of this roster. And obviously you got a couple of free agents out there. What you choose to do with them? If not, what you choose to do with that money that becomes available to kind of set the stage for what you're going to see come next winter.
New Orleans Zephyrs got hot, and then they ran into Oklahoma City, and they got cooled off a bit.
Yeah, well, they've not had a lot of success at home against Oklahoma City. They did steal the final game of the series before they head out of town for 12. They're not back until the 4th of July, so it's going to be an extended road trip here before they do get back home. And, certain teams, you just, no matter what, you just seem not to play well, or certain teams come in and play well in certain cities. It happens in baseball. So, we'll see how things play out on the road before they get back home on July the 4th, which is always a big day in the baseball schedule period.
College baseball news, Jamison Fisher, more accolades, first-team All-American in some cases, and recognized on other fronts for even off-the-field things. And then, of course, with regard to the draft, Jake Fraley, no surprise that he's going to play professionally. A few others making that decision as well. Still waiting, though, on Jared Poche. And to me, he's the big piece out there.
He is. And, the Padres have underpaid in some slots in the top 10 rounds to give them the ability to maybe go spend a little bit more on Poche. But he's got a number. This is how it works. He's got a number he wants to see met, and if it's not met, then he's not going to sign, and he can always come back for his senior year. One cool thing, hadn't gotten a lot of play yet, but a local guy, Cole Freeman, who is coming back for his senior year, is going to get the number 8 next year, which I think is a really cool thing. It's something that started to be handed down a lot like what's happened with number 18 in football at LSU. That number 8 will be Freeman's number for his senior year next year. Congratulations to him.
Manning Passing Academy coming up this weekend in Thibodaux, and as we detailed on the website, looking at 2,000 people again. Just an amazing thing that has come out of this when you go back to the original concept, and they had barely over 100 people at Tulane 2 decades ago. This thing has become enormous.
It is, and Thibodaux is Camp Central. We've got a story up this morning on the site at SportsNOLA.com. Had a chance to go down and visit with some of the people involved with the offensive-defensive line camp that is, it doesn't attract the attention of the Manning Passing Academy. For one thing, it doesn't have the name Manning attached to it. And quarterbacks and wide receivers, as opposed to those offensive and defensive linemen, aren't the big names that you want to hear. But there's a lot of talented players down there, a lot of talented counselors down there teaching these players the skills of offensive and defensive line. And look, Thibodeau is really like Camp Central this time of year with these back-to-back camps. The Manning Passing Academy has been in July. It's moved up now. It involves some of the ability of college coaches and such to be involved with this thing in terms of how the NCAA calendar is set up. So, this could really become basically a 9-day stretch of the calendar where Thibodeau is going to be in the spotlight, and good for them.
And finally, it's a big weekend in Natchitoches this weekend, which is where you'll be spending time. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame inductions, one of the best days of the year on the sports calendar in Louisiana. If you haven't been, you need to go. The big local inductee of interest, former Tulane coach Rick Jones, 11 total people getting honored. It's a great eight traditional inductees along with the Dave Dixon Sports Leadership Award, and some of our colleagues in the media industry getting honored with the Distinguished Service Award in sports journalism. Our good friends Bob Tompkins and Jim Hawthorne getting that award this year. So congratulations to them. It's always a great time. If you've not been at a Hall of Fame, I encourage you to go up and check it out. Next time you're heading up I-49, stop in and check it out.
Yeah, Bob and Jim are great guys, and that's terrific for them. And we'll have Rick Jones on our Three Tailgaters show Saturday morning on WGSO between 10 and noon this coming Saturday. So, should be fun. That's our First NBC Bank Weekend Review, brought to you by First NBC Bank with 35 locations throughout the New Orleans area and beyond. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNOLA.com. Have a great week, Lenny.
All right, you too.
You have a great week as well. Until later on in this week, have a good one yourself. God bless you. Talk to you then.